Well, I think the one thing we talked about in the press conference on Tuesday, and one thing I felt we had to do is we had to be the better team today in all three phases. Last year we weren't that; they were, but I felt we came out today and played well on all three phases, and the result is because of that.
Were you surprised it came as easy as it did, or is it as easy as it looked?
I didn't think it was very easy, to be honest with you. None of it very easy to me. But I felt that that had been a solid defense going in. I mean, I thought Kentucky, who's an SEC team, and they played extremely well against those guys. And I thought offensively, Billy and that offense did a tremendous job. They executed, and again, our outside receivers came up with some big plays. And if we can continue to get production out of those outside guys, number one, it's going to open up the run game, and Schuler and those inside guys will be more productive. So overall, I thought we were pretty balanced. Running and throwing it, and if we continue that, we got a chance.
Do you sort of feel like Devin Johnson's ability to run the ball in the first 2 weeks forced them to put an extra hat in the box and go one-on-ones on the outside a little bit?
I think they early on, I think they wanted us to run the football a little bit. And one thing we were able to do is they played that quarter press coverage. We were able to run by those corners a little bit, and make some plays on the outside, and that helps us. But regardless of whether they had that extra hat in the box, those corners were always one-on-one for the most part. And if you can't win outside, you got problems. We were able to win today.
After they gave you that scare on that first possession, your defense really stepped up in the rest
Well,
of the first half.
we always talk all the time about setting the tone for the game, and I thought Raheem Waiter set that tone on that first kickoff, and went down there and made a big time play on that deal, and then they turned, they ended up completing that long ball. Number 8's a good football player. We knew they were going to go vertical with him, and we misjudged that ball a little bit. But that was huge that our defense, stood their ground right there, and they came away to miss the field goal, came away with 0 points. We were going to take it right down the field. So I thought that was a critical part of that game for that defense to get that stop even after giving up that big play. I thought the defense played tremendous. Again, we get some guys in the game there at the end. You'd like to see those guys step up and not let them get there. They were having trouble getting them lined up at times. We were playing a lot of different players and trying to get some of those guys out. But when we play those guys, they need to be able to play and get people stopped. And that's one thing I was a little disappointed in today. Some of those young players got to play a little better.
Cornerbacks, Swag, it seemed like those guys were doing a good job of staying in press, but they weren't interfering, which was pretty big in the first half. Got a lot of deflections.
Well, those two guys are good players. Swag, and we're playing that little freshman, that row kid at nickel, and he's getting better every week. He's still, sometimes he's lost, but he's come a long ways, and he's got to continue to get better. But he gives us a little flexibility. I think Baxter even got in there and played a little bit, which was huge. If we can get him back, and maybe we can get Corey back at nickel a little bit. So we got to get some guys healthy because we got a great challenge. We got a great challenge this week on the road. We'll enjoy this one a little bit tonight and get ready for Akron and win.
Coach, physically, did you feel like maybe for the first time in the last 3 years, you guys maxed him and probably surpassed him with your physicality?
Well, that was part of the deal. And then we talk about when people come in here, we expect to be the most physical team, and I felt we were that today. There's no doubt that. Frank Solich coach team is always extremely physical on both sides of the ball, but I think if you turn the tape on, I think we were probably the most physical team today, which is why we won like we did.
As important as turnovers have been in the 3 previous games, how satisfying is it for you to look there and see not even fumbles, much less losing it?
Well, we lost. We had the one red zone, the one score zone deal. We had an interception down there. That's the first time we've had that in a long time. So if we took that away, it was great. But I thought our guys did a good job of taking care of the football, which was critical. And that's what the bottom line is we lost a game a year ago because we had 5 or 6 turnovers. You take care of the football, we're a pretty good football team, we're going to win. So if we can continue to take care of the ball, then we'll be fine.
How do you like the way Raheem took advantage of Devontae's height advantage?
Yeah, but Devontae's that's what we felt he was all along. He's a big body that's a tremendous, maybe the fastest kid on our team. And he went up in the air and got a couple of them. I thought Angel Jean Louise has got the same type of ability. Hunt. So we got a couple guys on the outside that we did get almost 0 production out of that outside receiver position a year ago, and that's totally different right now. Mike's done a good job with those guys, and we've got some pretty athletic kids out there.
You think that touchdown pass to Angelo was perhaps a play maybe a year ago when the outside receivers were not making plays like that Cato might throw out of bounds?
Well, not as much as that one, but the one Devontae, a couple of those Devontae made going up in the air, we didn't make those a year ago. Angelo was just kind of a scramble situation where he got open and maybe being able to do that, but just going up one-on-one against a press corner, it got you covered pretty well and making plays. We did not do that a year ago, and for the most part, we've been able to do that this year.
Is that the best or one of the best Cato improvisations you've seen?
I've seen a lot of them, but I thought he played extremely well. He played within himself, made good decisions. I don't know what his stats were, and I really don't care, but he, I think he threw the ball around pretty well, was accurate, and I thought we ran the ball pretty well. We gained some yards, so he did a nice job. And I thought, I was happy to see Gunner, go in there with that amount of time on the clock there, and he did some good things. He hadn't had that. He had the one drop, but he threw the ball around well and made the right decisions. And the more we can get him in the game, the better he'll be. So it's kind of exciting to see him go in there and do fine, do okay.
And you said you were going to make it kind of purposely try and get Angelo involved a whole lot more because of what he's able to do here today. And it just seemed that this was almost a coming out party for 158 yards.
Is that what he had? Yeah, I don't even know what he had. But he had a smile on his face after the game, so sure he had a few catches. He had a touchdown. He had the one.
Yeah, he had the one, 4 catches, 100.
He's a good player. I mean, he's a good player, and he's very athletic, and I like him. He's a good player.
On the flip side, I mean, you all go into halftime with all the momentum, even though you missed a field goal there at the end. Third quarter, you all come out and physically push them around, then Devin sort of, breaks 4 tackles and goes to the house. How big of a drive was that, just sort of end any doubt?
Well, we talked about it at halftime, coming out and starting fast. That's been one area that we had not done a tremendous job on. And I thought we came out in the second half and again, scored right there right away, which was great. And I thought we played, like I say, with the exception of giving up a couple touchdowns there with those young kids in there, I thought overall we played well. How
much pride do these kids take in the bell?
They take pride in winning the game. I mean, that bell, I guess, is okay. They like ringing it, I guess. I'm concerned about winning the game. I really don't care about a bell or anything else.
But the rivalry itself, any extra meaning?
Any extra meaning? Well, anytime you beat a team that's beaten you the last several years, I mean, it's great. But bottom line is that was important. It was a big game because it was a game today, and they're a good football team that's given us fits the last couple of years, and it was nice to be able to beat them.
How happy were you for Stu after as tough as the game he had last year to come out here and get 119 yards?
Oh, I thought it's tremendous. I mean, he's done a nice job, and he's living right. He's making good decisions, and he's become an all-around football player, and you can see it on the field. I mean, he played extremely hard. It was important to him, and he felt bad a year ago by what happened. He's had that, I'm sure, in the back of his mind for a long time, as all our players. But it's great to see a kid who had some adversity a year ago come back and play the way he did, and that'll help us in the future. I thought Remy, he got banged up a little bit last week, but he came in there and ran well too, which was good.
You got to talk about what you got out of your left tackles, your rotation, second string rotation coming up.
Well, we started Mendelson in there, and I thought he must have played pretty well because I didn't notice it. I didn't notice him getting beat, but and Addison also played. So, those guys, that's I think we'll have Swede back this week. I hope so. We're just developing more depth there, and again, Alex Miraball's done a tremendous job with those guys. But I thought both Mendelson and Addison both played well. Would they have 1 sack? I think that's what they had. So they must have played pretty well.
Yeah, one more non-conference game awaiting you. How do you feel about your team sitting with that one game?
Well, I mean, like I said, I mentioned before, I think that I had a chance to watch that team a little bit, and they went to Michigan last year and about won, and played Penn State extremely well, and I think they've won 4 of the last 6 games or something. And they got good players. They got a quarterback that can play. They've got some good players. We're going, so it's going to be a great challenge for us. And we got to go put everything we got into it, and we got a week off before we start conference play. So this is going to be a big week for us. Okay. Thanks, guys.